My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And look, I really did not want this movie to exist. Like, the first one ended so perfectly. Grace is about to be killed, but the sun rises, and it turns out the curse was real. Everybody just explodes. Alex is begging for forgiveness, and Grace takes off her wedding ring, throws it at him, and says, I want a divorce, and he just blows up as well. She then walks outside just covered in blood. She's smoking a cigarette. A fireman asks her what happened, and she replies, in laws. Pitch perfect. That's it. That's the end of the story. So, when I heard they were making a sequel, I just thought to myself, what could it possibly be about? The threat was taken care of. And then I saw the trailer, and I thought it looked like the most contrived nonsense ever, but I still went into this movie with an open mind. Like, maybe it could still be a fun time, and nope, absolutely not. I really hated this movie. So, let's begin by talking about the cast. And I really didn't care for Samara Weaving here. It just felt like she was going through the motions, and she didn't really have enough to do despite being the main character. Like, I just thought the character was less interesting, and the performance suffered as a result. Then we've got Catherine Newton, and I'm a big Catherine Newton fan. In fact, she gave my favorite performance of 2024 with Lisa Frankenstein. I also thought she was great in Big Little Lies, The Map of Tiny Perfect Things, Abigail. That dancing scene is it's an all-timer. But unfortunately, I thought she really dragged this movie down. She didn't have good material to work with, and just her line delivery felt very unconvincing. I never bought this was a real character. Then we've got Sarah Michelle Gellar, who I haven't seen in a while. I guess technically the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie from last year, but I thought this was a very flat and forgettable performance. We then got Sean Hattersey, and I just watched The Faculty the other day, and I didn't even realize this movie was a reunion between Sean Hattersey and Elijah Wood. That's actually kind of neat. He is a menacing threat when needed. I do wish he had a bit more to work with. Elijah Wood was a bright spot. He does a pretty decent job. David Cronenberg, I actually don't know if I've seen him act in much else. I know he was the killer in Nightbreed, but has he acted in any other movies? Hold on, I gotta check. Filmography. Acting. No, not. Wait, what? Okay. Extreme Measures, Barney's Vision, The Fly. Oh, that's a cameo. Jason X. Okay, I guess he's acted a little bit, but anyways, he's not really in this movie much. It's kinda of a nothing performance. Kevin Durand is barely in this movie, and he's pretty forgettable. So, I hate to say it, but the cast is nothing impressive. Nobody's able to save this movie, and it just frustrates me how much of this movie is the same. Like, I am so tired of Radio Silence's obsession with exploding bodies. It felt fresh and exciting in the first movie. In Abigail, it started to feel played out, and here it really feels played out. It's just, come on, think of a different gimmick now. I also thought, okay, I gotta be very careful here. One of my favorite parts of the first movie was how the husband starts off as good and becomes bad, and how Adam Brody starts off as bad and becomes good. I thought it made for some very interesting characters, and this movie tries to do something similar here, but it doesn't work and it's not convincing. And even the entire premise of Samara Weaving getting hunted, it just feels played out. It feels like I've seen this movie before, and it's just an infinitely worse version of it. And then we do get some new additions here. The big one is Grace's sister comes into the mix, and this movie really focuses on their sister dynamic. And without exaggeration, this stuff was an embarrassment to all involved. Like, it's just, Radio Silence worked on Scream 5 and 6, and it just felt like the Sam and Taylor stuff yet again, but none of this stuff is interesting. Okay, the sisters have some drama, they stop to talk about it every 5 minutes, and it sucks. It's heavy-handed, and people don't talk like this. There's a TV show, Arcane, and there's one scene in season 2 where the two sisters are reunited, Vi and Jinx, and they have this whole argument where, see, delusional. Wish I was just seeing things when you decided to throw in with the penalty goons who killed mom and dad. Well, at least they never had to see the psycho their daughter turned out to. Which one? You know, that scene is so well written because you understand there's tension and the characters aren't talking, and it just feels real. While every scene between these sisters here is just like, oh, I'm going to say exactly how I felt and exactly what happened. And it's just boring. It's uninteresting. And yeah, I really didn't care for it. The plot armor is out of control here. I couldn't believe my eyes what I was seeing at points. There was one scene early on with a sniper, and he just misses every single shot. We see it from his point of view. We see them in his scope, and somehow he keeps missing. And then there's one scene with a bigger gun later on, and it's just like the movie's coming up with the most contrived nonsense to keep these characters alive, and it even frustrates me when the heroes don't kill anyone. There's two scenes. One scene where Grace definitely could have killed someone, and of course she comes back later, and one scene where Grace and Faith have two people, like, you can kill them, and for the dumbest reason they won't. This movie is just terribly written from top to bottom, and I also felt like the movie kind of forgets it takes place over the span of one night. There is one character who gets beaten nearly to death, and next time we see them, they look perfectly fine and they're acting just fine. Like, are you kidding me? I do not buy this for a single second. I thought there was one scene with the song Total Eclipse of the Heart. Great song. I'm tired of it. Can we come up with some new songs to put in our movies? Because during that entire sequence, I just wish I was watching The Strangers Pray at Night. I hate when I do this. I did forget to say something, and that's that there's a scene where Grace puts the wedding dress back on, and it is one of the dumbest scenes I've seen all year. Like, why would she put that blood-filled dress back on? And it's made to look like a Marvel suit-up scene, and it's just really baffling. But yeah. So I really hated so much about this movie, and I feel like Radio Silence is becoming really overrated. Like, I do love Ready or Not, and I did like Abigail, but I hated Devil's Due. I hated Scream 5. I hated Scream 6, and now I hated this movie. I'm really concerned for The Mummy 4 at this point. But I will give them some credit. Apparently this movie only cost $6 million, and if that's true, that's kinda actually really impressive. So kudos on the budget. I just wish you used it to make a better movie. There is one cool kill. And I actually didn't mind the climax of this movie. You know, that's actually when the movie kind of comes alive. That's when it felt like this movie was doing its own thing, and some of the production design was really creepy. There's one outfit I just loved, and I'm like, okay, there's some interesting things here. So, yeah, but that's where all my positives end. I just really hated this movie. The added mythology is just pure nonsense, and it feels so made up on the spot. The amount of plot armor is out of control. The sister dynamic is truly abysmal, and it just feels like an infinitely worse version of the first movie. I had a terrible time, so I'm giving Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, a 2 out of 10. I need The Mummy 4 to be great, so Radio Silence, get your shit together. You know, channel that energy from the first Ready or Not. Channel your energy from the dance scene in Abigail, and use that to make the most kick-ass movie imaginable, because if you disappoint there, I'll never forgive them. But Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin out.